Hi, I'm Reverend Wendy Craig-Purcell here at the Unity Center in San Diego. Thank you so much for watching today. If you'd like to support the work that we do here, please consider making a contribution. Go to our website. It's easy to do. Thank you in advance for that contribution.
Oh, it's always wonderful to be back here. I know so many of you. It's so wonderful. Now I gotta ask, did you enjoy your Thanksgiving? Yeah. Did you realize that the Thanksgiving meal is in preparation for everything that's coming the rest of this month? In preparation for, and I wrote them down just so that you know, in 21 days you're going to eat again, just the way you did on Thanksgiving. Hopefully you prepared well. 21 days, there's Hanukkah. 24 days, there's Christmas. 21 days, it's my wife's birthday. 25 days is Kwanzaa, and in 30 days, you get to celebrate New Year's. So are you prepared? Did you eat enough? Because there's going to be food. I mean, lots and lots of food. But in order to have all that food, you've got to prepare yourself for it, right? I mean, you can't just come home and say, we're going to eat today and not have anything in the refrigerator. You got to prepare yourself. And that's really what this Advent season is all about. There's a lot of things that we need to prepare for, and yet most of our life, we're not prepared. Remember when you were a teenager, there was so many decisions to make. Where am I going? What am I going to do in life? How? And everybody had an opinion. Your teachers, your parents, your relatives, your friends, they all told you what you need to be doing. And you had to figure it all out. Well, I got to tell you a story about two teenagers. They were in love. Really nice relationship. And then they found out that they were in a family way. Their community, their family said, get out of here, go away. What a terrible thing to do. How can they make the right decision? Because they were so immature, they were so young. And yet they had to make the decision just like you have to make for everything that you do. How do you choose the right path? You know, maybe for you it wasn't that you were going to be a parent. Maybe for you it was what college to go to. Maybe it was who to marry. What job to take. Maybe there were a lot of decisions that you were making during those teenage years that you really weren't ready to make, and yet you had to. This is where faith comes in. You've got to have the faith to know that that inner desire, that inner believing that is happening within you is coming from a much higher place. Coming from a much higher understanding that all things are happening for your greater good. And this couple that I was telling you about, they were scared. And maybe some of you have an issue going on in your life right now that you're not 100% sure of. And maybe it's scary for you, because that scary part comes at all ages. Not just during teenagers, not just during your bringing up a family. It comes later on, too. It's a scary time at any age. Now, the teenagers that I told you about, their problems weren't over yet. They didn't have much money. And they traveled out of their normal city, and they went to another one, and they got there very late at night. So late that there were no rooms in any of the hotels. A very nice man said, "You can use my stable in the back." And a few hours later, Mary gave birth to the baby Jesus. There is something birthing in you right now that needs to be brought out. There's something birthing in you that is going to bring you a Christ-like idea, an incredible beginning for something new. Maybe for some of you, it's to sit down and write that book that you've wanted to write. Maybe it's to overcome an illness that somebody said you had, but we don't believe it, do we? There's so many things that are happening, and you need to be in preparation for that. And that's really what Advent is all about. Advent is that period of time that you are spiritually preparing for something incredible. Something that nobody else can understand. And you don't even understand it yet, but it will become clear as the days go on. There's going to be decisions that you're going to have to make that are going to lead you to things that you're not 100% ready for, but you'll be ready for them when they come. Advent comes from the Latin adventus, meaning arrival. And the purpose is to prepare us for the Christ child within us. Now, I get to quote somebody here, a very well-known, incredible teacher, minister, Wendy Craig-Purcell, who said, "As Christian mystics, as truth students, Advent is not only a time to honor and celebrate the birth of the baby Jesus, it is also a time to honor and celebrate the birth and development of our higher self, our real self, our spiritual self." You see, Advent is that time to rekindle what is growing and glowing within you. That new idea that has to be birthed. So I ask you a question. Ready? Okay, I wanted to make sure you were still with me. What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Christmas that can't be put into a box, that can't be wrapped with a ribbon, that can't be put with a bow on top? What is it that you truly want? And are you willing to accept it? Are you willing to accept it? The Gospel of Matthew records that earlier an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in dreams, telling him to take Mary as his wife, telling him to escape with Mary and Jesus to Egypt, telling him later to return to Israel, and finally warning him not to settle his family in Judea. How much credence do you give to your dreams? When you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, "I'm supposed to write a book." Do you follow it up? Or do you wake up a little while longer and go, it's too much trouble? Are you willing to take what God is giving you and use it for a greater purpose? As Mary gave birth to the baby Jesus, she didn't know that he was going to be so much, but in the song, you hear such beautiful happenings that happened after. And you've got those beautiful things happening for you. You're just not really sure what they're going to be yet, but they're going to be there for you. When I was doing my master's thesis at the University of Colorado, it was the last day of the semester, and I was giving this presentation, and a man walked into the room asking for Professor Albert. I said, that's me. He said, no, you're not the one. He's much older than you. And now I knew he was a little strange because he came in with a 3-piece black suit, white tie, white shirt, beautiful tie. I mean, he was just out of place because at University of Colorado, all the instructors wore ski pants. I mean, this was not a formal place, and he looked very out of place. He said, well, what are you presenting? And I told him about my thesis, and he says, well, then you probably know about the work being done in St. Louis with this particular architectural firm. And I said, I did not know. And he took out a piece of paper, and he wrote down a number and a name. He handed it to me, and then he left. And to this day, I have no idea who that man is. But after my thesis presentation was over, I went back to my apartment and I looked in my cabinet. I had been trying to get a job for months. But University of Colorado, the only PhDs that were available took the Burger King jobs. I had no idea what I was going to do. I looked in my cabinet. There's 2 cans of Campbell's soup. I remember looking at them. That's all I had left. But I had this number. And I called the number because I really had nothing else to do. Isn't that sometimes why we do things, right? We have nothing else to do. And believe it or not, the man whose name was on the paper answered the phone. And I told him what I was doing, and he said, that's exactly who we're looking for. Could you fly out here? He says, we'll reimburse you. We'll do everything. Don't just get out here. I borrowed some money, flew out there. Not only was I hired, but they paid for all my moving expenses to get out there. They paid for my first month of the apartment. They gave me a bonus. You see, all the things that you want are there for you. There's times in your life where you're going to stop and listen to that inner voice, that inner guidance that says, I need to go this way, or I need to go that way. And perhaps it's not a way that you've gone before. Perhaps it's a way that is very strange. And you have other people around you saying, oh, don't go there. Oh, no, it's a bad economy. It's a bad this. Oh, no, they're doing this, they're doing that. Oh, and you let other people talk you out of it. All of a sudden, you're giving birth to a new idea. What's your new idea? What is it that you haven't done before that you're willing to do now because that will bring you a greater happiness than you've ever had before? And all of this has nothing to do with shopping for gifts in the store. It's for accepting the gift that's within you, that Christ spirit that's about to birth out of you to become something greater than you've ever thought before. Do you need to check out a new doctor? Someone who's got a different opinion? Are you willing to change what you've been uncomfortable with for a long time now, and you're finally ready to say, I'm going to do it? At what point are you willing to make a major change and to prepare for an incredible event? Are you willing to do that?
Yes.
Anybody else? I've got one. We got two. We got two over here. You're willing to make a change for the better. What is birthing in you now that has to come out? And if you're willing to accept the birth, I've got the 5 steps to birthing. And those of you who like acronyms will love it. Okay? Be available to Spirit's voice. Listen. Don't keep talking. What I'm going to do, I don't have money, I don't have this, I can't do this, I can't do that. Stop talking and listen. Be available to Spirit coming through you, telling you that you have the ability, you have the opportunities, you have whatever it is that you need to do. In New Thought, we talk about being open at the top, being open to God's entering your life, bringing you new ideas, new pleasures, new wonders. And make sure that when you ask for something, you ask it in the term of, I want this or something better. Because some of us are a little limited in what we ask for. Oh, we'd like a new tie for Christmas. Maybe you need a whole new outfit. You have the opportunity for everything. I accept this or better. I accept this or better. The second, investigate the possibilities. What are the possibilities for a new relationship, a new career, a new doctor? The day that I met Abigail was at the first agent conference in Palm Springs, and she was limping. And I said, what's going on? She doesn't know me. I said, I don't want to impose, but why are you limping? She said, well, I run every morning, and the other day I just started, it hurt, and I went to the doctor, and he says, we're going to have to do surgery on your foot. Well, of course, you never go to the first doctor and agree, right? So she went to another doctor, and he said, we're going to have to do surgery on your foot. Now, I looked at Abigail, and I said, babe, I didn't call her babe at that time. I said, you really don't know. You don't know me, but I'd like you to consider a new option, something different. I go to a crazy, wonderful acupuncture Chinese medicine man sitting right over there, Brett Mosier. Yay, Brett. And I said, at least let him look. She came down a few days later, and she met with Brett. She's on the table with her foot out, and he's looking. He says, oh, I see there's a slight thing in the liver. And this bone's out of place. Click. A few days later, she was running again. Are you willing to have that happen to you? Just because somebody said you've got this disease, you've got that, you've got whatever, are you willing to accept something new, a new diagnosis? See, when we begin to accept those things, more things happen for us. How many of you do not know what a vision board is? Okay, there are a few hands going up, so I have to. A vision board is when you go into wonderful magazines and get pictures, and you put it on a board of what you want for the future. Where you want to be, where you want to go, trips you want to take, health possibilities. And for many of the years that I was here at the center, I taught the 4T course. Any of my graduates around? He's prosperous, you could tell. The 4T Prosperous course was 12 weeks of getting in touch with, I can have it all. I can be anything. And one of the exercises towards the end is that you go out to a very fancy restaurant, linen tablecloths, candlesticks, the whole bit. Now, at the same time that I was doing the classes here, I became the minister for the Alpine Unity Church, and I took that 4T class to the Alpine Church. And there was a mother and daughter who took the course who didn't have very much money. They were living in a small mobile home, and I don't know that they had ever had a meal with a linen tablecloth and candles. But the course said you need to go out and have a good time, a time that perhaps you've never done before, but do it now. And so the mother and daughter went with a few of the other members of the class to a very fancy restaurant. In fact, when they looked at the menu, she told me, I just cringed. I looked at the cheapest thing on the menu, just so I knew we could make it, just enough. And they had a wonderful meal. And at the end, the owner of the restaurant came up to them, inquiring about was everything okay? Everything was great. They all said yes. And then she said to the owner, when do we get our salad? And he looked at her in disbelief. He went back to the waiter, and the salad had never been delivered. And he came back to the table and he said to them, I'm sorry, and the meal is complimentary. Rework your vision board to include all of it. Be available to Spirit, investigate the possibilities, rework your vision board, and travel new roads. Try something different. If what you're trying doesn't work, there's a lot more selection at Baskin-Robbins than just vanilla. Okay, accept something different. Try something, and who knows, you might even like Brussels sprouts. No, you won't like Brussels sprouts. But perhaps the last point is one of the most important, and that is for you to hang with those who support you and let go of those who don't. Hang with those who support you. Get rid of the buts in your life and the butters. The buts are when you say, I love something, but guess what that means? You don't love it. I love the beach, but I always get a tan. You don't love the beach anymore. I love my job, but they make me unhappy, and then stop it. And get rid of those butters in your life who tell you that you can't have what you want. Life is hard. We all struggle. It's tough out there. Yeah, if you believe it. If you believe it. Get rid of the butters. Get rid of those who put you down. And start a new life that is really what you want. Now, I'm hearing in my mind a few of you saying, oh, Steve, that sounds really good. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but you know what? I really don't even know what I want for Christmas. I'm not ready. I don't have the money. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And I'm asking you to become like Joseph and Mary. Follow your inner guidance and accept that what is within you is a great gift. Within you is a gift not just for you, but for everyone that's around you. It will bring you happiness not only for today, but for the future. And that Christ-like idea that you have in you, let it out. Let it come out. Be the parent of the Christ within you. Be the parent of the Christ within you. Prepare your place in life to begin to experience the gold and the frankincense and the myrrh that is all yours for today. Will you accept it?
Yes.
Can I get an amen? Amen. All right. God bless. Enjoy the day.